Hi, it's the Sophia Magazine show, people. I hope you guys are there and watching because today we have very interesting topic that we're going to be talking about. In the meantime, officially sponsored by GRA, the Gambia Revenue Authority, this is the Sophia Magazine show and I'm your one and only presenter, Aisha Jawara. Today, like I said, we have a very important topic since Sophia Magazine is all about educating, informing, and just letting the Gambian people know what is going on here in the Gambia and, well, not just the Gambian people here in the Gambia, the diaspora too, because most of my audience are the diasporas. This was something that was raised recently, and I've seen for myself how badly it's gone, and I just want to get into it. This is like the rise of CFA, the rise of CFA in the country. I bet you guys are agreeing with me right now. Yeah, that is true. My God, how has it traveled? How has it gone? Moved from 350, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and now it's, no, not 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, maybe I should work on that a bit. But what I know is there was a time when CFA was just $350. But now we're talking $630, $635. I have an expert here with me. He goes by the name Abdullah. I would like to please welcome him. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah Jallo.
Thank you very much. It's good to have me.
Okay.
My name is Abdullah Jallo.
Abdullah Jallo. He's I want to do this.
Thank you very much.
I just want
Go
people
ahead.
to know that I brought in a lecturer, an economic expert, a Gambian economic expert. He's like a lecturer in economics at the School of Business and Public Administration, University of the Gambia. He also teaches undergraduate courses in international economics, quantitative methods, and microeconomics. Mr. Jallo holds 2 postgraduate degrees, a Master of Arts in economics. Well, there's a lot of economics in this profiling. So I'm just gonna let you know that if anything, he is wearing that hat, like an economic expert hat. So he's gonna tell us some of this important, like some of this very valuable information we need to know with regards to why the CFR is, my God, so high. Yeah, it's crazy ridiculous. I don't know if you're okay with the introduction I did. I was just really excited to brag about the fact that I have an economic expert here with me. So whatever information we give today is going to be like legit and everything.
Perfect.
But
perfect.
you're free. The floor is yours now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aisha. I think that was a perfect introduction.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with it. Let me greet your viewers. I think it's very important to have me here in this program to talk about burning issues in our economy and beyond our borders as well, but they're affecting those people within the territories of this country. To start with, I think it will be very important for us to set light on what exchange rate is all about. That is basically the topic of discussion.
Okay.
And from there, we will take it on step by step. So understanding the basics is very important. Exchange rate is basically the price of one currency in terms of an other currency.
Yes.
And we are aware of the fact that different countries in the world use different currencies. So what it means is if you want to interact beyond your borders with another country, then it also means that you have to interact with their currency, because most likely they have a different currency from yours. Particularly, we know that is the scenario in Africa. You go to continents like Europe, they're trying to eliminate the use of different currencies by adopting a common currency called the euro. So it is very easy to move with that euro from one country to another.
Super easy.
Within the same continent, but we're yet to have that.
Yeah.
So the reality we live in is we have different currencies and we have to deal with these different currencies. So the foreign exchange rate, like I said, it's the price of one currency in terms of an order. For example, how many dollars do you need to get a unit of CFA? That is basically the price of dollars in terms of the CFA. And this price is not determined by any country. Like Senegal cannot determine the exchange rate between the two currencies. Likewise, the Gambia cannot do so. So what happens is this price is determined in the foreign exchange market. And the foreign exchange market is not controlled by anyone. It is controlled by the forces of demand and supply.
Okay.
Generally speaking, this is what determines the price of two currencies, the level of demand of a particular currency and the amount at which that currency is supplied. But you get to understand that there are two sides to this coin, because we're talking about currencies, but currencies in themselves are useless. They are not very important. We only need them for a purpose, and that purpose is to do transactions. That is to buy goods and services from one country to another.
Okay.
So these goods and services, for them to move from one country to another, we have to pay for them, right? And of course, countries will not accept you to use other currencies different from their currency. So as a result, they are directly creating the demand for their currency if you need their goods. For example, if you need a good from Senegal, indirectly what is happening is you are also going to demand for the CFA, because that is what they accept.
Exactly.
So you have to buy the CFA first, then you buy the good. And if it is a service as well, you're going to Senegal and you want to spend a weekend in a hotel or so, most likely you're not going to pay in dollars.
Never.
So you have to change your currency to the CFA, then you pay to the hotel.
Exactly.
So that whether you're buying a good or a service, you have to buy the currency first. That is the most important thing. So this level of demand of the currency is what determines the price of the currency, right? And the amount at which that currency is supplied. But you see that the relationship between these two countries, Gambia and Senegal, is unique. It is different from any other country in the world. This is why sometimes it is even difficult to find theories, economic theories, that will help you explain the kind of relationship that exists between these two countries. However, we will, when we go further, we will explain exactly what exists between these two countries, right? So the Gambia uses Dalasi and Senegal uses CFA, and we trade a lot, right? Both formally and informally, right? Informally, in the sense that the borders between the two countries is porous. Porous in the sense that it is very difficult for Senegal to tell you this is where Senegal is, and even Gambia to tell you where Gambia is, because of how interconnected we are. There are certain villages, right, where half of the village is in Senegal and the other half is in Senegal.
I've seen that, yeah.
You even see houses where the living room is in Senegal.
Okay, well, that's extreme.
So this is how unique this interconnectedness is. And it is very important to have this in mind while talking about the exchange rate between the two currencies, that is the CFA and the Dalasi. But most importantly, let's look at the productive side of the economy. So what usually happens is Senegal, right, is more productive than the Gambia.
Yeah.
In reality, this is what we see.
Yes.
Because we demand more from Senegal than they demand from our
Gambia,
country.
yeah.
So most of the goods and the services we buy, a typical example is the vegetables, right? These carrots, the tomatoes,
They're all coming from Senegal.
Most of them are coming from okra, the watermelons, these fruits. We have a lot of them that are coming from Senegal. So most of the vegetables, the fruits that we have here are coming from Senegal. Hence, we have to demand for the CFA. And we have a lot of Gambians that travel to Senegal to buy other services, like embassy services. We don't have a lot of embassies in the Gambia.
No.
So if you need certain visas, you have to go to Senegal.
Yeah.
And what that means is you need to demand for the CFA before getting whatever you want, whatever services you want in Senegal. So these are things that are happening in reality, but on the other way around, they are not happening because we don't have a lot of Senegalese coming to the Gambia demanding a lot of things. Though we have a lot of Senegalese based in the Gambia, doing business in the Gambia.
Exactly.
So this is also happening. And it's very important, right, to stop at this point, for Gambians to understand that sometimes the depreciation of the Dalasi is not only related to the amount of goods and services we import from Senegal, but sometimes some of these businesses that operate within the Gambia, right, that have Senegalese roots or whatsoever, sometimes they easily accept the CFA because they know at some point they're
I
going to
don't
need
think
it.
it's sometimes. At this rate, it's every time.
Exactly.
It's like in your Gambian country, Senegalese are coming and trading in their currency.
Exactly.
Maybe that's also contributing.
So that is also a contributing factor to the depreciation of the currency.
Go.
Yeah, and the other issue is, I think we have been indoctrinated by Senegal to some extent to make us believe that it is okay to use their currency in our country, but it is not okay the other way around. A Gambian cannot go with the dalasi and use it in Senegal.
They will not accept it.
In fact, when you pull it out, they laugh at you. These are some of the things that happen in reality. And we are accepting this, and it is becoming the norm, but we are not supposed to accept this. We are not supposed to accept this.
It's, how do you say this? It's discouraging.
Yeah.
Okay, because first you're in the Gambia, you're thinking, hey, I'm in a country that has like a government working, there are citizens, we're all doing stuff, we're working, we have our currency, but then at some point you find yourself trading, like doing your business with a different currency that's not Gambian, and you tell yourself that's normal. It's I don't know the patriarchy. I don't know where to think when that happens. Like how we are, us Gambians, how we are so okay with that. It's not normal in Senegal. It's like you mentioned, when you go to Senegal, like just even at the border, no matter how close our relationships are, apparently we are the only one considering that, because we accept their currency in our country, but they don't do the same. Right at the border, you go with a dalasi and like, I don't have Soffia, they'll tell you, like you said, they would laugh at your face. Like, hell no, they're not taking it. So why are we okay with this? Like, I just don't understand.
It's a big problem, and the scary part is it is not only happening at individual level or at the private level, but we also have some public institutions that are accepting this. A typical example is the ferry services. The ferry service, you come from Senegal with your truck, they accept the CFA. In fact, the ticket that you're given is quoted in CFA.
Yo, so I heard you say that, and I didn't want to believe it. Like, no way, ticket, this is highly produce.
This is highly accepted, and in fact, they encourage taking this CFA from the Senegalese. And I confronted one of these officials, and the response was, at some point they are going to need this CFA, because there are certain products that they will need to import from Senegal, and if that comes, then they will need to use the CFA. But then, is that a good reason for you to be accepting CFA in our country?
If it is contributing to why the CFA is rising, then it's a problem.
Exactly.
It is definitely a big problem.
And another example is an experiment that I did myself while traveling to Ziguinchor. When I arrived at the Gambian border at Jiboro, while I was doing my paperwork transaction, a man came from Senegal with CFA, and the Gambian officials easily, accepted
so nice.
the CFA.
We're so nice.
Right, conducting his transaction for him, and he left.
Right.
So when I went to the other side of the border, that is in Siliti, I also tried the same thing. I said, okay, intentionally, I'm going to pull out the dalasi instead of the CFA, even though I had CFA with me. So I pull out the dalasi, gave it to them, and the officer was like, no, we don't accept this here. So
and those at the border, they can easily change it, just like we can.
Because at that point, you're dealing with the government. And they are not going to accept that, because within the territorial integrity of that country, the only currency that should be used is the domestic currency.
It's not fair.
So this is what countries do. In fact, they create the demand for their currency, because if the demand of a particular product increases, what happens to the price of that product? The price of that product is expected to increase as well. And the price in terms of two currencies is basically the exchange rate. And the increase in the exchange rate is the appreciation of the currency.
Okay.
So you creating the demand for your currency will simply lead to appreciation of your currency, and the other way around as well. If the demand for your currency is very low, then that will lead to depreciation of the currency. And probably this is what is happening to the Gambia, because one, we are not as productive as Senegal is. We don't export a lot compared to Senegal. Yet we are allowing them to use their own currency in our country. So in essence, we are not creating demand for the dalasi, and there should be need for the demand for the dalasi. Once we do that, it will eventually lead to an appreciation of the currency. And
Right.
it is very good for a country like the Gambia, a developing country, an import-based economy like the Gambia, to experience an appreciation in their currency, because it means that foreign goods are going to be relatively cheaper compared to domestic goods. So it will be easy for us to buy from outside at cheaper prices. And now when we import it to our country, we expect the prices to go down as well. If not, all what is going to happen is we're going to import inflation. And that is exactly what is happening currently. Every time we import inflation. Because before you have access to the goods, you need to buy the money. And that money you're buying is appreciating in value. In this case, the CFA. It is always increasing. And what it means that the price relatively is going up. And this is why market vendors, retailers, will always complain about the CFA. And sometimes you wonder, why complain about the CFA? Are we even in Senegal? But you can see the level, the magnitude of influence this country has when it comes to our markets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Already I'm frustrated because this is something that I don't know how we're going to solve. And if we do solve, I know it will take time. But maybe please go for like a short break. We have to. Like at some point, we got into it too fast. And I think we've been talking for long enough for us to go for a little short break. So our sponsors, like their subscribers to the magazines, can also see themselves at some point, because that's what the show is about. Please, let's go for a short break, and when we get back, we'll still get into talking some more. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about. I just hope we have enough time for it all.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Ajibank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Ajibank, your investment partner.
Okay, so second edition to the Sophia Magazine show, and we're basically just talking about the rise of CFA in the market. Okay, we got into answering most of the questions I was going to ask, but like I said, we're going to formalize it now because I got too excited. Sorry. Okay, so we have with us a professor, like a lecturer of economics at the School of Business, Mr. Abdullah Jallo, and he was basically just giving us some of the important like facts that were really making CFA rise the way it was. Anyways, like I said, we're gonna get into asking the formal questions now. Like I know you've already given like the viewers on the understanding of what has caused such a dramatic increase in the cost of purchasing CFA. That is because we need it so much. I don't know if it's okay to get into all of, but the fact that we are not producing as much, okay, most of the things that we, like when it comes to business, we are taking more from Senegal than Senegal is taking from us. So because of that, CFA is going up, like it's rising so much. Like these few days, last I checked, like few months ago, it was 570. So imagine my surprise few months after when I was told it's 630. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Can our demand for the CFA be so much that it can be like this at this rate? Before this year end, we're gonna be in thousands. We're gonna be paying $1,000 for a mere meal, which is not good at all.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Actually, when you look at the data from the Central Bank of the Gambia, they usually give daily updates regarding the exchange rate between currencies. And I extracted this data starting January 2025, that is 2025 to date. And you can see that on the 3rd of January 2025, the exchange rate between the CFA and the Dalasi was 566.52. And 1 month after, on the 3rd of February 2025, 572.
That's like a $10
right?
jump
So the CFA appreciated. But however, on the 3rd of March 2025, the CFA depreciated to 568 again.
Oh, okay.
So you can see there are fluctuations regarding the currency, the exchange rate of the two currencies. And on the 2nd of April, it appreciated from 568 to 584. Okay. So this is basically normal in terms of exchange rate, because they do fluctuate a lot. Sometimes within a day, they can change. Like less than 24 hours, they can always fluctuate. And this
is not something that we can control, no?
Yeah,
it cannot be regulated, no?
We don't encourage any controls, because it is a free market where the forces of demand and supply determines the price. So you don't want to come in as a regulatory authority to determine what prices would exist. So the central bank wouldn't want to step into the market if things are normal. And the idea is, yes, the CFA has been appreciated, but we should not also lose sight of the fact that we're in a unique period of the year, and that is Tobaski. And Tobaski is a period when demand increases, particularly for rams. And most of these rams are coming from Senegal. Even though this year we were able to do very well in terms of diversifying where we import from, because some rams were imported from Mali instead of Senegal. But you can see that most of the rams that were imported into this country came from Senegal. And for us to demand those rams,
still the CFA,
we have to demand for the CFA. So obviously, it is expected that this time the CFA will appreciate.
No,
like
but
this normally happens every year, because it is a specific period.
The informal sailors, like the people informal businessmen in the country, they have used this as a marketing tool to make more money, just so you know. Okay, and if anything, it's distorting. It's very bad for a Gambian person to assume that you're getting things expensive because the SEFA went high. Apparently, like, and in the meantime, we're the one that made it go high. So I don't know how this works, but I know for sure, like, I'm hoping that we have a solution to this. Like, is there any solution you have in mind as to how we can appreciate our currency instead of depreciating it? Because in this instant, that's what it feels like. It feels like the Gambia's currency is going down, and the SEFA just keeps going up from 570 in January to 635 in June.
Yeah, it is mind-boggling sometimes the way these two currencies are traded. But I think some of the measures that the central bank can take in particular is to boost measures in terms of financial literacy, because people need to be aware, particularly the government officials. Like, as a government, you should be responsible enough to make sure that you promote your own, right? So government institutions are expected to take the lead in this. And that will go back to the example I gave about the ferry services. So ferry service, even though at some point they're going to need CFA, as they argue, but that doesn't warrant the fact that they're supposed to accept CFA from customers. I mean, so they have to force these people to demand for the dalasi. In doing that, they're creating the demand, the need for the dalasi. And these Senegalese will start to demand for our currency. And once they start to do that, if that is happening across all sectors, we expect the dalasi to start appreciating, or at least be stable in terms of the exchange rate. So we have to create the need. But that comes with financial literacy, and not only the institutions, but even at individual level. Gambians individually needs to be aware, right? We need to know some of the implications of not using our own currency in our own country.
I think we are aware of that now.
And you realize
these rates at this point.
And you realize that this is not only happening with regards to the CFA, but it is also happening to other foreign currencies.
All the other currencies.
Other foreign currencies like the dollar, the euro, and the pound. You have certain schools in this country that will not accept dollars.
What?
If you're paying tuition, you only pay in foreign currency.
Imagine that.
In our country. So these things are happening, and I think central banks is supposed to come up with measures, at least educate people so that they understand some of the implications of this. Because creating the demand for the dalasi is very important.
Imagine running a country that has banks that allow opening foreign accounts. You know, it's okay because like they're importers and probably would need it to transfer it, and with this official thing that is needed for you to bring in goods in the country, very necessary. But because of that, our money just keeps depreciating. From your explanation, I have a feeling that it's because of the fact that we created this avenue for this currency, foreign currencies to be used in our country. Exactly. We created it. And because of that, chances are we're just going to keep messing up our currency.
Exactly.
Because our currency was top notch, by the way. Yeah. Like when I checked with some of these economics, there is this currency I saw, like this dalasi. I was like, wow, we had a dalasi in paper before, because this is something I didn't know. Yeah. So when I saw it, I was like, wow, because I assumed dalasi was just a coin, always a coin. Apparently, that was like a dalasi paper that you can actually hold and be like, I have a dalasi. And I was told that it was so valuable, it could be compared to the pound. So that was a big, like a huge thing for me. I'm like, wow, we were that good. Our currency was that valuable, you know. So seeing how it's depreciating so much that like offices at the borders would tell you like, hell no, we're not taking this money. it's not. I don't want to use the word, but that is it. It's insulting. Okay.
I think at this point it is very important to talk about these issues. The CFA is pegged to the euro, right? Okay. But our currency, that is the dalasi, is floating. It is floating because we allow the forces of demand and supply to determine the price of the dalasi. So like the central bank is not responsible for determining at what prices the dalasi will be traded with other currencies. This happens back in the 1980s, right? Specifically in 1986, in the early 1980s, we were using the peg, like what Senegal is doing. We peg the dalasi to the pound.
Exactly.
I don't know whether you realize that we call the $5 pound.
I was told the history behind that too.
Exactly.
Like, I was so shocked when I saw that.
Exactly.
Imagine £1 is worth 70 something dollars.
Exactly.
Imagine when people would say $5 is equated to £5.
Yeah, but there are implications.
Oh, okay.
Because if you're using a peg or a fixed currency exchange rate, you have a problem. And the problem you have is, as a central bank, you have to stand ready to have enough foreign currency in place to make sure that whenever there is demand for the foreign currency, you're ready to supply. But once that cannot happen, then it means that you're forced to abandon the peg. And normally the official rate of the central bank and the market rate are usually different. So if there is difference in terms of the peg and the market rate, people see this as an opportunity. So they want to seize this opportunity. They buy from one market and sell in another market. So if you don't have enough pounds to back the peg, then you cannot sustain it. So this problem happened back in 1986, and IMF came with the SAPs, that is the structural adjustment programs. They advised the government of the Gambia to abandon the peg and allow the currency to float. So this is where the forces of demand and supply were allowed to determine the price of the dalasi. And since then, we have been using the floating exchange rate as a country. So
I don't know, but this one, for us to like, for people to be talking about it everywhere, I think it's a huge jump from 570 to 630. It's too big of a jump for us to just be normal with it, no matter how nice and lenient we are. I think at some point we have to know that we are devaluing our money, and it's dalasi. You have to be like proud to use your currency in your country, and don't have strangers or foreigners come in here. I'm sorry to say, I have to say it like this, okay, because it's getting really annoying that us Gambians are the one encouraging this. Like, we are normal, we're fine using a foreign currency in our country. Some people will tell you straight up, like you mentioned, in schools, you cannot pay in dalasi. Like, what in the world is that? Like, why? If you ever go to America and said you want to pay your school fees in euro, would they would tell you, yeah, right, like,
you know what is going to happen
never
next.
happening, okay? They're going to fight for, like, the fact that you have to use their currency in their country. So why can't we do the same? If anything, I think it will appreciate our money some more. Like, if we get them, like the ferries you mentioned, if they are, these people that come in and have their tickets stamped in CFA, are told that from now on you're paying in dalasi, I think there will be like a big change. It will bring a big change to our currency.
And I think we need that.
We do.
It's very important. And another mechanism, another domestic regulation that the central bank should initiate is for commercial banks to also contribute to this course, because they have these official rates published all over the place, but you go to the bank and there's no foreign currency. It's so obvious that you should not even go to the bank, because once you go, you'll not find it there, because they make it so difficult for you to access, right? And this is limiting the supply of these foreign currencies, and as a result, it is going back to the hands of the dealers. And these dealers, through the foreign exchange, the foreign exchange bureaus, I think the central bank is also supposed to launch an investigation and see whether there is no possible collusion in terms of these businesses. Because what happens is you have a group of people that are very organized, they know one another, and sometimes someone in Birkama can easily pick up the phone and call someone in Banjul and tell them these are the rates that are existing. And they will just go with it. And they will just go with it. So some of these changes, these fluctuations or these increases in the CFA are not even justified, right? So that is a possible collusion. And collusion is where you have cartels, like businesses that produce the same product or service, come together and then they shoot the price up. And I think the Consumer Protection Commission should look into this. This market, we need investigation to know exactly how prices are determined.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes
because
it's not
we may need them so much, but this kind of jump is something that should be investigated.
Yeah, it should be investigated.
It should be.
Yeah. And I think the commercial banks have a big role to play in making sure that foreign currency is available in the banks. at least if you have an account with the bank,
You should be
step into
entitled
the
to
bank,
some, yeah.
you should be entitled. But I mean, sometimes it is there, but they make it so difficult that you don't want to go there.
You just want to go to the black market
and you go to other countries. What happens is, when you need foreign currency, you don't even step into the bank. You just use the ATM. That's all what you need.
Really?
You can do foreign exchange with the ATM. So the ATM machine,
so cool.
you have your dollars, slot it in, it will give you dollars. You have your dollars, slot it in, it gives you dollars. It is that simple. Right? People know that it is available. But if you make it scarce, then
it's going to keep
obviously
making the
price,
market
the
harder
price will
and
increase.
appreciate
I think
other people's currency more than yours.
Yeah, I think the central bank is supposed to consider some of these measures to support domestic individuals and businesses as well.
Wow. Like, I think we've not been able to touch many of the things, but this is one sensitive topic that's been a problem for the longest time, I think, for years. And the fact that we are talking about it now is because I think the jump was too big a jump for us to finally. But like, let me ask this question. I think of all the things we talked about, maybe this one is one that people would need to know about. For every Gambian, especially traders, those living near the border, how the rising exchange rate affect their daily lives, businesses and purchasing power.
That's a very important question. But I think here, those people that are living around the border, it's not even a big of a problem for them.
You don't think so?
Because it is in fact easier for them to use any of the two currencies.
Oh, yeah.
And this is normally what happens to all the villages along the border, right? You have that alternative to either use the CFA.
So they don't even have to worry about what the rates are, because they probably have both currencies
exactly
with them.
So I think we feel it more than they do. For example, a village or a town like Farafenni, I'm sure some people will not like it if I call it a village, but a place like Farafenni, this is a huge business center. But in Farafenni, it is normal for you to pull out the Dalasi, but it is equally normal for you to pull out the CFA.
Even though it's Gambia?
Even though it is in the Gambia.
Wow.
Right? So you
like
can
we
see
have a long way to go.
Yeah. So you can see those places around the border, it is normal for you to use either currencies. Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you mentioned one solution. I don't know if there are many more. So the leaders that are responsible for these specific areas can, you know, if you have any more solutions as to how we can appreciate the dollar, say, you know, I can't say depreciate CFA because already CFA is so appreciated. Saying depreciation, I don't know. It's I don't even know if it's normal.
Yeah, I think here we need to give ourselves a reality check as a country. We have to sometimes look inward and see where we are getting it wrong. Not always blaming other countries for what is happening in our country. I'm saying this because looking at the productive base of the economy, what do we produce as a country? What are we producing? What are we offering to the rest of the world?
Okay, that can also contribute.
Exactly. So this is very important because we also have to attract demand from foreign countries. But for us to do that, we must be creative. We have to be innovative. We should produce. And once we produce, foreigners will come for what we have here.
And they'll buy it in our currency.
And they will buy it in our
currency. I hope we are not that lenient to let them buy it in their currency, because we're doing that like it's normal. I have someone who sent in a comment saying, I understand that the currency in Ghana is stabilizing since coming of the new president. What is that they can get? What is it that they are getting right? And what can the Gambia, what can the Gambia learn from them to stabilize the dalasi against the CFA?
Yeah, in Ghana, you realize that there are two things that are going in tandem. That is, they have a new president who is coming up with very good policies, but also something is happening in the international world, and that is the biggest economy in the world, in the United States of America. And what is happening in the US is somehow reducing the global influence of the United States of America. Hence, it is also impacting the dollar. So the Ghana cedis recently has been appreciating against the dollar. But you see that even though that appreciation is happening, but prices in Ghana are still not going down.
Oh.
That is also some of the things that Ghanaians are complaining as well, because the expectation was once the currency appreciates, prices are expected to go down, because some of the things they buy it in dollars. But you get to understand that, okay, yes, that is the expectation, but that can only happen over time, because probably some of the goods that are already in stock were bought while the currency was not at that level.
Exactly, yes.
So you don't expect them to sell their goods at lower prices. But over time, if this continues to happen, then we expect prices really to go down, because most of the things they import, it is imported in the US dollar.
So maybe like it's just like you said, we're going to go back to exactly what you said. We have to find a way to produce, be more innovative, do more things that would require people to come and buy in our currency.
We have no choice, but we have to be productive as a country. We must produce, right? In the short term or in the short run, we can come up with short-term measures to help curb the effect of prices or the effects of the exchange rate. But in the long term, right, what is sustainable is, as a country, we have to produce. We should be able to produce within, particularly some of the basic products that we use in this country daily.
Wow.
So it is important. Right.
Okay, I think we've touched some of the important parts, like with regards to why the CFA is rising and some of the solutions. Maybe if you have time, you can come back again and honor us with your presence and talk some more about this, because I'm sure people would like to deliberate some more on this. I'm hoping that it won't jump like it did when next you come here. I'm hoping that will not be the reason you'll be here, but let's just hope. Fingers crossed.
I hope so
we're going towards the end of the show, so like if you have anything else you want to say with regards to our topic or anything else, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation once again. I think it was an honor to have me talk about some of these issues, some of these burning issues that are affecting the common man, the common person in the streets. So my last word would be, I think government should take note of the cries that are coming from people. So some of these things that we talk about every day, that we complain, that are directly affecting our daily lives, I think it is very important for the government to take note of some of these things and come up with measures, right, that will possibly solve this problem, both in the short run and in the long run. In the short term, the central bank can come up with domestic regulations that will help us create the need or the demand for the dalasi, and reduce the demand for the CFA by making sure that we force Senegalese and other nationals as well to demand for the dalasi. In that, we create the demand. And the other way around, we also need financial literacy. People should understand the implication of some of the things they do. Like sometimes as a Gambian, you should not accept certain things, right? Even at individual level, you know that there are implications, right? So you also have a role to play, not only the government, but individuals also have a role to play. If Senegalese are making us believe that they can use the CFA here, then it should have been the same thing in Senegal. But you go to Senegal, you pull out the dalasi, they laugh at you. So let's do the same thing.
Exactly.
Right? I think that will help us create the demand for the dalasi. So
thank you so much. I would like to thank you, like officially thank you for honoring this invitation at such a prompt level, because I know you were reached out to not long ago, but it's because the cries everywhere was really getting too much, and I just knew I couldn't just come here and complain without having an expert deliberate on some of the important facts that are causing this. But like he said, I hope the government does something, central bank specifically, with all of that, especially with the regulatory bit and the fact that individuals are supposed to also know, like, literacy, finance literacy. This is something that we should definitely work on. I don't know how we're going to do it, but hey, I'm going to go check out, like, do some research and see how we can create something, because at this rate, by December, I'm telling you, we're going to be in the thousands. It's going too fast.
It is really scary.
Too fast.
It is scary. It is scary.
So thank you once again, the viewers and your text messages. Thank you for all the audiences for watching the show. I can't wait to have this show with you again next week. I welcome, like Soffia Magazine always welcomes all these topics that you bring in on the page. You write onto the messages and you talk about these important things that are affecting each person if not directly, at least your friend or relative is going through. This is what we do here. We talk about the things that are bothering us, and we try to see if there are solutions, and we say them out loud if there are. Regardless, thank you, and I hope you guys had a blast for the past Eid. Small, how do people be? I'm have been a friend Boka Akib. So, like till now, there are some people who cannot make it to the office because they claim they have stomach run.
But
I'm sorry to say, they're fools too. Well, anyways, I hope like you can go over Tobaski Rombana League, back to work. Let's get back in there and try to make Gambia go further, because that's why we're here. Okay. Anyways, thank you. Saying thank you. I feel at some point it's understating, but I can only say it so much, so you would know just how grateful I am that you guys are there all the time, and because of you, we're running this show. See you next Wednesday. Thank you once again.